Good day everyone, I am BlueBlaze, and the tier list has reached a turning point as I start to move into the games developed under 343 Industries. Halo 4 is the first one under this branch that is not a remaster, and is my second favourite Halo game after Halo CE. Therefore, a little bit of a warning that I may be slightly biased towards some of the stages in this game. Another quick reminder, just in case this is anyone's first video for the tier list. I feel the list is free-flowing and can change both between videos and in them if I change my mind during the recording. This time around, in between videos, I have actually switched around Two Betrayals and Tip of the Spear. However, with the normal disclaimer out of the way, here is my tiering of Halo 4's stages. Skipping over the prologue, I feel Dawn is probably my favourite opening level out of the entire franchise. In my opinion, it does a good job at setting up how the game is going to play, as well as the differences from other games. I think the story and the mystery of what is happening works well, and the spacewalk section is quite neat. I quite enjoy how there is a terminal going over some of the previous games to get the player up to speed if need be. For myself, Dawn is going to be in the legendary tier above everything else.
Would you like to continue?
Requiem is probably my favourite level in the game, not to mention one of my favourites in the franchise as a whole. Whether this is an unpopular opinion or not, that feeling I first got when walking outside into the light and looking over this amazing new world with some really nice music playing is quite nostalgic for me every single time I play the level. To further my opinion, I feel the Warthog section near the beginning is simple yet fun. Walking around at the start and finding secret weapons, data pads and enemies is quite enjoyable. And the push up to the cartographer is, in my opinion at least, a good way to progress the level. Because of all mentioned, I think the best place for Requiem is in Mythic tier above Metropolis and below Silent Cartographer. Interesting that both my top stages have to do with cartographers, however, yeah. Forerunner is a strange level. The majority of it, to me at least, feels as if it is quite slow to play through, as it seems to be like a huge button push or destroy a target quest the whole level. The best segment is probably the Ghost Run at the end, as it is unique and plays differently to the standard Warthog run. I think the best place to put Forerunner is in Osiris tier above everything else.
Whoa, cowboy!
Aesthetically, Infinity is probably one of my favourite levels with its jungle section alone. I quite like how the foliage and greenery looks in comparison to other levels in the series. I as well enjoy the defense of the door, the tank section, and the first reveal and use of the Mantis, all whilst 117 plays in the background. With this, I think I shall place Infinity in Legendary tier above Two Betrayals and below the Ark. I was having some difficulties in deciding where to place Reclaimer, as there are some parts of the stage I quite enjoy, and other parts I personally find quite slow. Whilst the Mammoth section is quite memorable, and the Mammoth itself looks quite interesting, the gameplay around it seems to vary between fun and not doing very much. The two best sections, in my opinion, is avoiding the Jackal snipers on the way to the Forerunner building, and the tank battle once said building is left. After much deliberation, I feel Reclaimer may fit best in Noble tier above High Charity and below the Truth and Reconciliation. Like with the previous stage beforehand, Shutdown was quite a difficult one to figure out where to place. Flying the Pelican for the first time is quite neat, however its use seems very limited. Once on the ground, travelling through to something to activate then leave feels quite simple as a task. However, I enjoy a fair amount of the encounters in the spires, therefore I'm a bit mixed. I think Shutdown can be placed in Noble tier above Anders Signal and below the Pillar of Autumn. A fair amount of Composer feels quite similar to Dawn to play. However, instead of the abandoned ship setting, it takes place on a meteor base station with many more enemies attacking. I think the addition of station security and the civilians makes the level seem quite lively, and the Mantis section looks quite interesting and is fun to play as well. Composer is going in Legendary tier above Gravemind and below Outskirts. When I was younger, I am pretty sure Midnight was probably my favourite level out of Halo 4. Whilst it is not that high anymore, it is still close to the top of my list. The main draw for myself is the flying section through the Didact's mantle, with 117 playing in the background. However, I quite enjoy the rest of the level as well, although the Didact's battle did feel somewhat lackluster as compared to, like, a typical boss battle. I feel I shall place Midnight in Mythic tier, above Delta Halo, and below the Maw. Okie dokie, I feel that is currently where my list is up to with the stages. As everyone's opinion is quite different, I would not mind hearing some others in the comments. Only if anyone wants to, no one has to, I'm not forcing anyone. However, with that said and finished, I quite hope everyone enjoyed the video and I shall be back in the next one. Cheers everyone! That feeling I first got when walking outside into the light and look over it, blah 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 blah. That feeling I first got when walking outside into the light and looking over this brand new world with some amazing music playing, and looking over this amazing new world with some amazing playing, and the push up to the cup. Aesthetically, Infinity is probably one of the blah 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 blah. I can't do this. Aesthetically, Infinity is probably one of the favorite. Aesthetically, Infinity is probably one of my favorite levels with this jungle section alone. I quite like how the